certainly fits about what we're going to talk about right now and who we're going to talk to. We want to welcome back to the show Mr. Christopher Moon, who happens to be a paranormal investigator. Joining Christopher today will be Chris Mancuso and also Brian J. Cano, and those two gentlemen are from Scared. So, Brian, I must come to you first. What is Scared?
Scared is a series of paranormal documentaries that we've been doing since 2002, and we document our adventures, whether it be paranormal investigation or urban exploration.
Okay, the difference being?
Paranormal investigation is your now traditional ghost hunt, whereas I think urban exploration is more the grandfather of that. It's the old kind of exploration of spooky buildings, abandoned places, much larger scale, and there's also an element of danger involved with it.
Okay, do you have to be, I'm assuming both of you are considered psychic?
No, that's a misconception. You don't need to be psychic to be an investigator.
Okay, answered my question. That's where I was going to go with that. So, not necessarily psychic, obviously tuned to this though? Or is it better not to be?
I'm actually a skeptic. I've had one paranormal experience over the course of my life that kind of opened me up, but before that, I was a total dead-on skeptic.
So you're trying to find out if this is real?
Yes, I'm kind of looking, for answers from my own personal, experience.
That's interesting. So, and what about you, Brian?
On the show, we kind of build it on a triumvirate of views. There's the skeptic, the scientist, and the psychic, so that we come at it from three different angles. I think his viewpoint is very pure, because if you believe in something, you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. But he doesn't necessarily believe, so he's searching for answers. And me, I'm the guy in the middle.
That's very interesting.
And so far, what have we found? Are you believing now or believing more?
It's like you have to take it investigation by investigation. Even though I've had a paranormal experience, I can't go around saying that every place has spirits, every place has a ghost. So it's a case-by-case basis.
Okay, very quickly, can you give us that paranormal experience? Can you recount that for us?
It's a very long story.
Can you make it short?
I'm going to make it very short.
Okay.
I was touched several times, on my back, up my spine by something. And that's never happened to me
You could
before.
tell that it was a touch.
It felt like someone running their fingers up and down my spine.
And where was this?
This was at the Grand Midway Hotel in Windward, Pennsylvania.
And at the same time, I was hearing voices behind my head, and our team psychic was communicating with it directly. And we were all in the same room, and at the same time, feeling different phenomena related to this one moment.
And you could not explain it. So this is where Christopher comes. You've experienced this many times.
Christopher, were you ever a skeptic?
Well, I consider myself an open-minded skeptic. I always try to look for the most logical explanation first, and that's why I really appreciate what they do. They do it the right way. You try to go in with an open mind. You try to find out what's really there. I've had so many experiences that to this point it's a little bit easier for me to take that next step, but I do appreciate the way that they investigate. They take in all the equipment, they go in with an open mind and just try to find out what's really there.
Is there anyone who has tried to stage something to try to fool you in any instance?
We have had locations since the popularity of these types of shows has really gained speed over the past couple of years. More places are looking at it as a publicity stunt, so if they call us in, they're thinking, oh, we're going to get on TV, and let's rig something up, and this place is haunted, and it's not always the case.
Of all your travels throughout the many places you've been, the most haunted, either town, building, area that you feel was...
I have to say the Grand Midway, because that's where I had my experience.
That's where you had it, right,
So,
exactly. What about you, Brian?
I think for me, and actually we have some common experience at a place in Staten Island, New York called the Garibaldi Mucci Museum.
Very common.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, it's just an amazing place. We had a really validating experience there. I had actually just finished doing an event, and we had some stragglers that were left, as well as the curator of the museum. And we were all downstairs, and all of a sudden upstairs we heard banging and rattling and people running, and I turned to the curator and said, is there anyone left here? There's nobody here at all. So anyway, they ended up pushing me. I'm always the guinea pig, so they ended up pushing me up the stairs. As I'm going up the stairs, very clearly there's a woman who was speaking French, loudly. And when I got upstairs, there was absolutely nobody there. But we've all had some sort of experience at the Garibaldi.
Interesting. Is there any place in the world or in these United States that you think there's more spirits roaming around or easier to come in touch, be in touch with? or have you discovered?
From my experience, I think they're everywhere. I think they're around us all the time, and sometimes it's just more fun to go to an old haunted location, an old historic location.
Gentlemen, the big question here, though, is why do we do this?
I think it's curiosity, first and foremost. I think everyone as a child has questions, has beliefs, and I think as adults, we want to almost validate that life isn't just 9 to 5, go to the daily grind, go home, go to sleep, get back up and go to work. You know, there's got to be more.
And haven't all of us seen something weird in our lives that we thought, what was that?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, looking for something more spiritual. I'm not a very religious person, so to have that kind of spiritual, experience is something that I would, like.
You must be a Robert Mitchum fan.
Not exactly.
The Night of the Hunter?
I know what you're talking about, yes.
The significance to that, just out of curiosity.
For me, actually, I'm a writer, so obviously I write with my hands, and love and hate are very powerful emotions and drive a lot of my stories that I write.
Very interesting.
Christopher, this is something that people can take advantage of, and what I'm speaking of is these gentlemen and a few more. There's a conference.
There is Hotel St. Michael. It's Haunted Con, and we just have an amazing lineup of people. Of course, the guys from Scared are going to be speaking on Saturday. Tonight, I'm going to be speaking along with John Oliver and Carmen Reed, and we just have an amazing lineup. It's going to be great, and it's actually happening Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Are you going to be talking on different subject matter?
We are. We're going to cover everything from the skeptical end all the way through ghosts and hauntings and UFOs and crop circles, and just cover everything that's paranormal.
Will you take questions from the audience?
Always.
Absolutely.
There's always interaction, because if it's just us speaking our opinion, there's got to be some interchange.
Can the three of you think of the weirdest question that somebody asked you about what we're talking about?
The weirdest. Now that's delving in there.
I think it involved credit card numbers, and I declined to comment.
Mine would be the lottery numbers. That's what I use.
In searching for all of this, okay, this is an ongoing search. Christopher, have you been given, or have you obtained any answer to any of your questions in searching all this? Has anybody from over there given you an answer to a burning question, the why we're here, where we go, what are we doing? I mean, we talk about communicating, but have they given us any valid answers?
Well, and that's the thing. My goal since I started this has been intelligent spirit communication. What's there? What's next? Where do we go from here?
Exactly.
And I think the most fascinating thing that I ever received as an answer through the device
The
is
ghost box.
Yeah, exactly. Is that it's not just life and death, it's many lives and deaths. And we're on a constant progression up to this possibly unobtainable goal.
Since you were here last time, I wanted to know, there's so many babies that die, and their spirits, again, as Tanya said, are going next door or over there. Can they communicate as babies who don't even know how to talk when they were here?
I've had a few different experiences now. I should say animals and children, for the most part, seem to go directly through. That seems to be the case.
Directly through meaning?
They travel through the light, the doorway, the gate. It's a matter of just a natural progression that they have.
So they're not caught in between. There isn't in between.
They don't have the regrets that we do. They don't have the problems that we do, so they don't have a problem with immediately moving through. But children, from time to time, have used my spirit technicians to come through and communicate messages to parents and things
When you
along
see
those lines.
children, I'm thinking of a 3 or 4 year old that didn't know how to verbalize, but
Exactly.
do they verbalize in between?
They do. Well, they speak through my technicians, and that's the thoughts, the impressions come through them. So we're just trying to relay those.
So you're picking up the thoughts of the child, which is coming vocally through your interpreter.
Exactly.
On that side. Gentlemen, Brian and Chris, from doing this, what have you obtained? What have you learned? What have you made any definitives about your feeling of the hereafter?
The very questions that you brought up before are the very same questions I have. I'm thinking, we're not in it for the minutia, we got an EVP, which is an electronic voice phenomenon. We're not here for the little minutia thing. For me, personally, I want those big answers. I want the why are we here, what's going on, and what's next. And we haven't gotten that because I think it's too big a question to be answered by one single event or one single piece of evidence.
Have we heard from former presidents, former chiefs of state? Have we heard heard from any of those people, Christopher?
I have had some personalities come through. I still say that the most interesting personality that I can personally say came through for me has been John Lennon. And it was in a very strange capacity when he came through.
Now, how do you, now, okay, how do we know it was John Lennon?
Well, I didn't at first. It's a very long story, but basically what had
Make it
happened...
short.
Basically what had happened is one of my employees, when I first received the device, wanted to hear it work, and we were communicating through computers and phones, and basically she was asking questions and seeing if she could get someone to come through. This man in an English accent kept coming through, and I said, why don't I just let you talk? So they were having this communication over the phone through this device. And soon it started registering with me that this sounded like John Lennon, and he had much of the same vocal qualities and things
Was
along
this
those
an
lines.
audible communication?
Audible. Absolutely. I wasn't even involved in it. I was just
Okay.
sitting back and
How
listening.
could you-
Okay.
How did you know it was John? Was there something he said?
He said quite a few things that were coming through.
Okay.
And I had no idea that she'd had a fascination with John Lennon throughout her life. Long story short, he introduced her mother, who had passed away. I didn't know her mother was gone. He was the gate to bring through the mother and have them have a communication at that point. So he worked almost as an ambassador, and she realized that their fascination with John Lennon had all led up to this point.
Are famous people more reluctant to come through than the average? No.
Not at all. Once they get there, we're just like we are here. I guess we're all the same. So.
Okay, and here's my question. Here's my question to all three of you. If they, as spirits or whatever they're called, whoever they are, if they want to be heard and known, why isn't it easier for us to make that connection?
I think a lot of it is presence of mind. I mean, on the skeptical end, maybe you just close your mind off to the possibilities. I'm in the middle, so I have so many questions. Those questions often cloud what might be considered good judgment in some cases. And with Chris,
I'm more wide open to it
Yeah.
at that point. And you really do have to allow yourself to be conscious of what's taking place.
Okay, are they here with us right now? Are they right here?
Depending. You have intelligent spirits who've crossed. You have other spirits that are earthbound that are more so with us at this point, unless you call them here.
Fascinating. Now, Christopher, you're going to stay here. You're going
I
to
am.
stay. We're going to be joined by Carmen and who else?
John Oliver.
John Oliver. Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Gentlemen,
much, Chris. Thank you.
Again, Scared can be seen.
you could see us on our website at scaredonline.com. We also air on PTN, which is the Paranormal TV Network.com.
Terrific.
Fascinating.
Good stuff.